Alright guys, so this is the third part of the WindWise project, which we features about this automated windmills where it automatically faces itself toward the wind directions. Um, so in this part, I'm gonna go through the particle Argon right here and its connections to the MQTT server and also the code snippet behind it. As you can see in here, the value of the currents, the first line in the LED display is the name of the windmill, and then the second line is the current, which is the power that the windmill is generating, and this value right here, the current value is updated every 1 second, right? So and this whole device currently it is just like bare bone stuff. I'm gonna put it in like a better carbon or something is like looking better than this. So yeah, now we're gonna go through the code and everything that's behind this separated device. Work on external batteries, power on an particle Argon. Currently the device is connected to my mobile hotspot because the particle only accepts 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. Yep, so let's get to the code behind it. Before we go into the code, this is the MQTT server, and as you can see right here, the value of the current and the topic is windmill slash windmill1 slash current, and then the value is being updated continuously every 1 second. Well, the value is showing negative because when it's rotating to this side, which means it's gonna be negative, but on the opposite side it's gonna be positive. It's like circuits in electronic flows, and currently it's not spinning at all, so the value will remain very low. Okay, so we're gonna go through the code of the particle right here. Yep. So this is the wait, let me turn this thing on. Okay, so this is the code of the particle Argon, basically what's going behind it, and I'm gonna go line by line so we can have better pictures. Okay, so the first thing is we declare the libraries. So I'm gonna be using the wire edge library and the groove LCD RGB backlight. Those two libraries on the top, those two in here. I should use a mouse. Those two library in here is to deal with the LCD screen. So those two those two library is to deal with this screen right here, the screen. Yep, and then that is the T2 library, and then the MQTT.H library is the library where we subscribe to the MQTT broker to retrieve the values. All right, so next thing we declare the LCD class, and then we specify the broker domain and the part of the brokers with the function MQTT clients, and then in this callback function, well, we're gonna go through this callback function because if we go with right now, it's gonna be a little bit confusing. So yep, we're gonna get there later. So in the setup function, we got all this code right here. This code that I am highlighting them. The code right here is to have the LCD start up and then bring initializing onto the screen. So that means at the first second when you boot up the particle Argon, the screen's gonna say initializing, and these other code is to specify where the cursor is and the backlight behind it. Well, this code is actually useless because the LCD I'm having is like a monochrome LCD, so it's not RGB. Yeah, and then after that we're gonna bring initializing onto the screen to saying that the device is booting up and it's initializing the MQTT broker, and then it's gonna be a code to connect to the MQTT broker. So this code right here is connect to the broker, and then if the connection is established successfully, which means this if case right here, then this whole thing gonna run, this whole thing including the LCD screen. Starting from here, the LCD screen gonna show on the screen that the MQTT connection is succeed, and then it's gonna delay 3 seconds, then it's gonna clear the screen, and then it's gonna show the topic that the Argon is subscribed to. So it is subscribed to the topic is windmill1 / currents, which is the topic we can see right here, windmill1 / currents. So yes, so after the screen has showing that the MQTT connection has established successfully, then it's gonna illustrate the topic that the Argon is currently subscribed to. It's just for we to check if it's the right topic, right? So and this thing right here, this code right here, it's kind of complicated if you look directly at it, but the code is to scroll the text in the LCD. Yeah, that's all it do. So basically you can see the letters inside the, so you see this string topics, it's actually really a long string. It's maybe like up to 30 letters, around that, but my LCDs, the LCD right here, only can contain 16 letters at a time. Here, right here, you can see 16 multiplied by 2, which means 16 square in this side and then 2 in this side. So yep, the screen can only show 16 letters at a time. So in order to show a message that is long as this topic right here, I will need to have it scroll through the whole screen. So this code is basically loop in all of the letters in here, and then just scroll it one by one with a speed of 0.5 seconds, and then it's gonna scroll to the next letter. So yeah, it's like that. Okay. And this else right here is not really on the right tab of. Okay, this else right here is like if the topic is shorter than 16 letters, which means the topic that we declare right here, it's shorter than 16 letters, then it just basically prints the whole topics out. Nothing complicated, because it doesn't need to show, because 16 letters can fit in the LCD. All right. And then we have the and then after the connection has established successfully, we're gonna get the client, we're gonna subscribe to the topic. We're gonna subscribe to the topic. Yep. And this else right here is the else of this if case. That means if the client is not or if the MQTT is not successfully connected, then it's gonna print to the LCD that the MQTT connection failed. This cursor is to set the cursor inside the LCD. So if it's 0, 0, 0, which means it's gonna be this position. Oops, 0, 0 is gonna be this first position right here, and if it's 0, 1, it's been row 0 and column. Oh, it's been row, yeah, column 0 and row 1, which means it's gonna be down here. Yeah. So yep. So that's it in the code, and now we come back to this callback function. So the callback function is like every time the MQTT subscribe, the MQTT subscribe function receive any new messages, then it's gonna do something inside this function. All right, so we're gonna have all this thing up right here, came straight out of the library, and it is to read the values of the to read the values of the MQTT subscribing message, and then if the value exists right here, if p, which p is the value that it is read. So if the value exists, then the LCD gonna perform a whole lot function. But basically what it's gonna do, it's gonna set the cursor to the top line, and then it's gonna print the windmill name, the windmill model actually, and then it's gonna set the cursor to the start of the second line, and then it's gonna print the current, and then it's gonna set the cursor ends right after the currents, and then it's gonna print the value P right after that, and then finally it's gonna print amps in the two brackets. So that's what you can see right here. So this first line is gonna print the model of the windmill, which is windmill 1, and then it's gonna print the current and then the amps in the brackets, and yep, just like that. So this code is included in the GitHub repository, and once you download it, you will have to upload it into this particle Argon right here. And then once you upload it, the particle Argon will need a stable connection. It must be 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi band, otherwise it can't be connected to any other 5 gigahertz or any other short. So and yes, oh, this is the name of the broker. This is the broker domain. It's emqx.io on port 1883. And the callback is this function right here. And yep, that's it for the code of the MQTT of the particle Argon. And that's also the final piece of the windmill. And I believe that's the last thing that I forgot to cover in the last videos of the WindWise project. Thank you for listening.